Smash speculation has gotten boring. With over 80 fighters in the game, it's hard to come up with a lot of characters who truly feel like they're missing from the roster. The game has expanded far beyond its initial scope and dipped into the world of PlayStation and Xbox for characters, and no game character is safe from speculation. If there were ever any rules, they're all broken now, and seeing Master Chief show up in a Nintendo Direct is no longer such a far-fetched idea. That's why for me, coming up with new Echo Fighters is where it's at now. Sure, we haven't actually gotten any new ones since the base of the Game of Ultimate, and the developers don't seem to be interested in adding any more, but what the heck. Unlike regular newcomers, speculating new Echo Fighters requires you to think with rules in place again. The Echo needs to share a physical build with the antecedent fighter, and of course the moveset needs to match both fighters decently enough. That's enough to think about that coming up with new Echo Fighters actually feels mentally stimulating and fun, like a puzzle. To me, it's way more fun than listing off a bunch of popular game characters and brainstorming movesets, knowing that there are so many possibilities that whatever you come up with has an infinitesimal chance of coming true. Sometimes too much freedom is suffocating. With all that being said, here are some Echoes I'd really like to see make the Smash roster. I'll be giving a brief summary of the character, why I'd like them to join the fight, and what changes, if any, I'd make to the base character's moveset. Trust me, they all deserve it way more than Daisy. Protoman from Mega Man. The suave Protoman is a character that the Mega Man developers have never really known what to do with. He made his debut in Mega Man 3 as a mysterious guide for Mega, but we never really learned much about him even as he continued to make small appearances throughout the classic series. Despite it all, he's endured in popularity, living long enough to become an expensive plush at GameStop in 2019 and earn a Mii Fighter costume in Smash. It's this Mii costume, well made as it is, that dashes my hope for any real appearance for the man in red, but you never really know what Capcom has in store for us. At the very least, they can put him in Mega Man 12, right? Protoman's moveset actually has a boatload of potential. See, back in Smash 4, they introduced custom moves, and while most of them were just boring little characteristic edits, Mega Man's custom moves were actually other robot master weapons he could use in his own series. Gizmos like Plant Barrier, Ice Slasher, and Beat the Bird made an appearance, only to be completely scrapped from Smash Ultimate's abandonment of the whole feature. What Protoman could bring to the table is the preservation of these moves, delighting Mega Man fans and shaking up Mega Man's strategy more than enough to justify his own inclusion. The best Echoes, after all, are the ones with small changes that completely change how they play, and for Protoman, all the work is practically done already.
Louis from Pikmin. Louis is a fascinating character in his own right. You can never really be sure what's on his mind at any given time. All we know is that he loves food and will go to any lengths to get some, even if it puts himself and his friends in danger. In his unflappable hunger that sends the entire plot of Pikmin 2 into action, and even in Pikmin 3, he can't resist stealing an entire supply of fruit juice from the Kopai crew. The man is unhinged in his desire for sustenance, and I'd love to see what he could accomplish on the battlefield. Now obviously, Alf should be Olimar's Echo Fighter. He was done super dirty in the base game, having to say an alternate costume while Daisy and Darkpig got their very own character slots. But with that being said, given the choice of only one, I'd take Louis based on personality alone. He's a mischievous guy with sociopathic tendencies and an affinity for insects, and I'd love to see his voracious behavior carried out on someone besides an innocent Bulborg for once. And that's right, in Louis' final smash, he cooks and eats you. It's a one-hit KO that removes the victim from the character select screen forever. Play as Louis at your own risk. I'd also like him to inherit Olimar's old moveset from Brawl with the 6 Pikmin and tether recovery, balanced of course, so it's not ridiculously overpowered. Much like with Protoman, preserving old moves and playstyles is always welcome.
Ravio from The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. Ravio is an enigmatic little guy who lends you items and weapons in A Link Between Worlds. Inhabiting the land of Lorule, which mirrors Hyrule, he naturally has access to everything Link would, which is why I would like to make him an Echo Fighter for young Link. This especially fits because, spoiler warning, at the end of the game it's revealed that Ravio is in fact Link himself, just the version of him from the alternate dimension. It's weird seeing a version of Link who talks and isn't a blonde, but also pretty refreshing. Some might draw ire from the addition of a 4th Link to the Smash cast, and I can't really blame them. I certainly wasn't thrilled when Ultimate introduced a 3rd Marth clone either. But it's been such a long time since we've gotten a new character from the Zelda series, and Ravio at least brings some visual variety to the lineup. Want to play with young Link's moveset, but as a stubby little rabbit guy? Ravio is your man. I wouldn't even suggest any gameplay changes at all. young Link's kit would work fine for him just the way it is. I also want to defend the various Links by pointing out that these are not just different variations of the same guy. This isn't a Dr. Mario or Zero Suit Samus situation. Every Link is a hero from a distinct period of time, and each of them has his own adventures, separate from the others. It's true that the movesets are all the same, but the Link from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask has every right to smash alongside Breath of the Wild Link and the Hero of Winds. Ravio stands out from the rest as he isn't a protagonist, but that just makes him shine all the more in my opinion. Bring on the bun!
Funky Kong from Donkey Kong Country. Listen, there's not a single person on this earth who doesn't want Funky Kong in Smash Bros. Even if you've never heard of him before, all you have to do is look at him to see that he's audacious, outrageous, and very, very funktastic, objectively speaking. In his own series, Funky's a bit of a jack of all trades. He's been a pilot, an auto mechanic, an arms dealer, a regular old shopkeeper, and most recently, an adventurer himself. He has more than enough potential for a moveset of his own, but he's such a chill guy and he's fine with aping DK's moves so that the developers can get a break. Making him into Donkey Kong's Echo would combine all of the styles and grace from his personality with the sheer fun of DK's powerful attacks. Let the funkster in, baby. You wouldn't have to make any changes to DK's moveset, really, but as mentioned before, Funky has tons of history that could easily be incorporated into his attacks. Since he's most well known for flying airplanes, maybe add a visual change to the spinning Kong that brings out one of the vehicles. You'd also definitely need to straighten his posture, as Funky doesn't hunch over like his less bodacious bro. You could even have him bring out a pineapple launcher or something for his side special, but of course, that would take a lot more development time to model and implement. Whether they want to go the extra mile or not, Funky's waiting in the wings to join and fight and throw K. Rool to the sharks.
Malos from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Xenoblade is a series that's been largely shafted in Smash Bros. Shulk was a great addition back on the Wii U game, but the Gaur Plain stage is a chore to play on, and they sadly didn't have the chance to add any substantial content from Xenoblade Chronicles X or 2 into Ultimate. If Rex is truly off the table, might I propose not the protagonist of the top-selling Switch game, but the villain? Smash might not have a deficit of bad guys anymore, but that doesn't mean more aren't welcome. Malos is a truly threatening dude who tries to do a lot of bad stuff in Xenoblade 2, and since this is obviously a very story-driven game, I won't go too far into it. I will say though that Malos is a treat to behold. There's nothing especially unique about him, but you can't help but love the narcissistic, over-the-top nature of his personality. He's a villain with a powerful presence that could be really fun to wield in Smash Bros. Naturally, he would echo Shulk, but this is no superficial parallel. Near the end of the game, again, spoiler warning, but this time it doesn't really matter, Malos actually brandishes the Monado sword. Sound familiar? It's not really explained in the game and doesn't tie into the story, but for whatever reason, Malos uses the same sword owned by Shulk in his own game. Could this be any more of a perfect fit? Xenoblade Chronicles 2 might not be getting a unique newcomer of its own, but it would be a shame not to give it some form of major representation in Smash Bros. An Echo Fighter would fill that void quite nicely, and Malos is the obvious pick, as no one else really shares Shulk's build or fighting style. Perhaps Malos could be slightly heavier and slower, as he is slightly beefier than the original Monado boy. The power of the ages filling him with rage as he stomps across Omega Gaur Plains, punctuating every strike with a powerful monologue.
As of this writing, it seems the Smash team is done creating new Echo Fighters for Ultimate. They've moved on to a much more hype-generating field of mostly standalone third parties for the DLC, an understandable decision. But a part of me wonders what heights we could have seen had the developers chosen to fully embrace Echo Fighters. So many potential fighters are waiting in the wings, just itching to copy their acquaintances' movesets and take the battle. Even if we never get a new Echo Fighter for the rest of time, it will forever be fun to speculate. Plus, hey, we always have mods, right?